This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Mike Murphy.
Thank you, Charlie. Yes, I am Mike Murphy, host of the Good Neighbor Podcast. We talk to local businesses, influencers, movers and shakers in Northern Kentucky. And we talk to people who you may have heard of them. You may have heard of their business, their whatever they're doing, but you don't know a lot about them. And I hope to change that. So with me today is Serkan Orsan, correct?
Yes.
With King's Hammer. So when we hear King's Hammer, we think soccer, but I do not know a lot about King's Hammer and what your mission is. And that's why you're sitting down with me today. You're going to sort of educate me and you're going to educate the community. Many people out there know you because I hear your name all the time. And I know a lot of soccer people. I have a lot of soccer friends. But I grew up in a different time and era where it was all about American football. So we're going to learn a little bit more about King's Hammer today. So Serkan, welcome to the show. And please tell me, tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us about King's Hammer.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, Murph. I am delighted to be here, actually. The name is obviously Serkan Orsan. It sounds like a superhero name, but
It does.
I don't intend to save people's lives, but hopefully we try to impact them as much as possible. I am here with King's Hammer Soccer Club. It's a phenomenal soccer club. It's a youth soccer club dedicated to developing young athletes and eventually strengthen the local community as well through soccer programs. I am actually Turkish originally, but moved to the United States 30 years ago to San Diego, California, sunny California.
Okay.
Got my MBA, stayed here for a long time, lived in Atlanta, lived in San Francisco, eventually lived in Nashville, where I actually led the King's Hammer down in Nashville, Middle Tennessee area. And then 3 months ago, I actually moved to Cincinnati, North Kentucky area, and I'm really excited to be here.
Okay. Well, you mentioned the various different places you've been, and you mentioned King's Hammer down in Nashville. So me being kind of ignorant to, the King's Hammer world, I thought King's Hammer was just a Cincinnati thing, but that's not the case, correct?
No, not at all. Actually, the King's Hammer has been around for probably over 20 years. It's a combination of King's Soccer Club with Hammer FC merging together back in the day in this region, but eventually they've gotten big in terms of providing these services to a lot of soccer players, youth soccer players, anywhere from age 7 to 19, youth soccer players. They've eventually partnered with a club called Murfreesboro Soccer Club in Nashville area, where I was the executive director. So after that merger, we actually expanded the program to Lakeland, Florida area, very close to Tampa hub in Florida. We do have a region in Panama City. We actually have a club in Ohio, up in Ohio, Columbus, New Albany. So we have many regions, up to 4 states now. So we have, aspirations to hopefully become national.
Okay. Well, at any given moment, how many youths, how many soccer players are involved with King's Hammer program across the region?
Across the regions. Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, there are a lot of different programs. Obviously, you can consider competitive programs that players compete at higher level. We have programs that's called grassroots or recreational. We're up to almost 10,000 players as a whole. Wow. King's Hammer soccer club. These, again, 4 states, 8 different regions, expanding. When you also consider certain camps and clinics that we hold, we do hold about 10,000 players. We also have event portion of our business that we try to provide additional tournaments for those teams that might not be King's Hammer teams. So around annually, we do have about 40 events that span from anywhere to Indiana, tri-state area here, obviously down to Florida, then Tennessee. We do hold about 40 events.
Okay. So what's a typical day look like for you What is your role within King's Hammer, and what do you do day to day?
So I oversee the corporate affairs and partnerships at King's Hammer, eventually supporting all the programs and events.
Mhm.
That gives the kids the opportunity to grow both on and off the field. So my day-to-day job is actually, making sure that everybody knows about King's Hammer and the opportunities that we provide. We obviously have players that can't pay to play, so we do have a scholarship program that we try to fund. So I'm in charge of making sure that we have enough funds to be able to promote this sport for every player that wants to play. So at any given day, you can see me at the Chamber of Commerce trying to rub elbows with partners that would like to support us, but in return that we could support them as well. So, when we talk about sponsorships, I don't want people to think that we just, put their banner in and call it a day. We do really want to partner with them and tell their story too, because we really believe in the partnership, that any type of opportunity that comes along, we want that brand to support us as much as we can support them. I mean, we do have a great network of parents. We have a great corporation that helps us achieve what we want to achieve. So whenever we talk about partnerships, it's through a collaboration.
So the local businesses, I guess the businesses in this region that are supporting King's Hammer, are there any in particular that are sort of, I guess, top tier that maybe you want to shout out and call out for their support?
In a way, I've just started this, networking events. One of the big ones that I want to, shout out is we're trying to, put together our own foundation. We Grow People Foundation within the King's Hammer. But, immediately, obviously, month of October is Cancer Awareness Month. So we actually partnered with Susan G. Komen Foundation to make sure that we were putting together an event in October 29, which is a 3v3 tournament. Everyone could find this opportunity on our website pretty soon. But we're just going to do something to benefit them immediately so that we can show actually, everyone that we're trying to partner with businesses out there for them to sponsor this event, but also partnered with a good cause that we could support. Immediately that I also want to thank, North Kentucky Chamber of Commerce and Cincinnati Chamber. I've been heavily involved with them immediately as soon as I started with King's Hammer to learn more about the region and how everybody can support us and we can actually support them in return.
Okay, very good. The North Kentucky Chamber of Commerce, they're a big group. They're a giving group. Everybody involved with the Northern Kentucky Chamber of Commerce needs to kind of look at NKY Chamber as what's the best way to utilize and leverage all of their connections and all that they do for people. And so it's a different experience for every business. But I find that there is so much that you can get out of the chamber. If somebody's listening to this and they're not a member of the Northern Kentucky Chamber of Commerce, and they're in, especially Boone, Kenton, Campbell, and the region, I encourage them to look into becoming a chamber member. There's a lot of benefit there, so I'm sure you're getting some of that.
Oh, absolutely. I highly recommend it. Lynn Abelin and Beth Ferrer has been a great supporter as soon as I started with the chamber to, give me ideas how I could actually learn more about the community and how the community can support our, young athletes, but also how we can give back to the community as well. They have many events that are, pretty much free if you want to learn about the chamber initially. And then if you want to invest and get more out of it, they certainly have a lot of opportunities. I recently, attended their ambassador committee meetings, several meetings. I found it very valuable. Immediately, they put you in a situation where you can have a buddy that explains you a business, basically, that's been through the ambassador committee and through the chamber, that gives us the opportunity to learn more. They really make it very easy for you to become not just a member, a citizen of the community. So I really enjoy that so far, and I will definitely continue to partner with them.
So there's kind of our commercial for the Northern Kentucky Chamber of Commerce. This podcast is sponsored by Northern Kentucky Chamber of Commerce. Not really, but I guess it kind of is at this point. So what got you into soccer, you personally? I'm assuming growing up in Turkey as a young boy, that's kind of where this all began?
Absolutely. I grew up playing soccer. I mean, when you're growing up in Europe, that's the main sport. I mean, 3.5 billion people watches World Cup.
Yeah.
So which is fantastic, because 2026 World Cup is right around the corner, and it's going to actually be held in US, Mexico, and Canada. So I encourage everyone to learn more, because this is going to be an amazing event. But yeah, I grew up playing soccer. I'm an avid Fenerbahce fan, which is a Yellow Canaries, basically their mascot. I grew up going to the games and, attended their academy program for a long time. But, being a person that grows up in Europe, your passion takes over immediately. Yeah. So anything that you do on a daily basis revolves around soccer, or football as they call it.
Right.
But, from young ages, obviously that taught me teamwork, discipline, and resilience. And, obviously that supported me to wanted to get my coaching license as a result. So I do have a U.S. Soccer Federation license, A license, and I do have a European soccer license. So I kind of used that, during my time in U.S. With the soccer clubs that I've probably led and was a part of. And eventually Kings Hammer, gave me that opportunity too. So I kind of have my MBA business background, and also my soccer knowledge that I get to implement on a day-to-day basis and support not just young athletes on the pitch, but off the pitch with these partnerships too. So it's deeply meaningful to me. Over the years, I've coached many players, and now seeing them succeed both and off the field also reinforces that, I'm probably doing what I really meant to do.
So through the years, what has been your most memorable, your most rewarding, top of the list moment in your thus far soccer career?
Murph, it would be very hard to pinpoint just one. One amazing fact is definitely, over the years, I taught so many soccer players on the pitch how to play this game, but also to understand, hey, you might not turn pro. This is also a venue for you to to understand that you could become a good citizen. Mm-hmm. You can understand how to be a good sportsman. You can understand how to be a good teammate. Yeah. So, having multiple players probably going to college as a result of their education, and also being a good student athlete, and, seeing them succeed in the world with the part of soccer in their life is an immense moment for me to think about. There are multiple players that I can, go back and look at it. The other one is obviously, one amazing moment for me was my son played soccer earlier. My son Devron played soccer earlier and when he was 10, 12. But when he turned 13, he wanted to play American football. And he was a great running back for his youth club that he played for, and his school that he played for as a freshman, and then in high school as well. So another great moment is for me to be able to watch him experience and learn, and also teach me a different sport while executing and implementing what he learned from his coaches, and being successful at American football as a running back was an amazing feeling for me. So I get to watch that from time to time. He actually on his, I want to say his freshman year or maybe sophomore, that he actually had the touchdown that took his high school team to playoffs. So that was an amazing moment that I think he remembers. I remember framing the newspaper for him for his birthday. So
a proud moment.
Sports is probably more, those moments that I can recall that was impactful.
Well, I love your answer that, it's tied to not just growth in the sport, but growth as a person, growth in life. I think that's a big part of sports. When you get to a certain level, you have no choice but to grow because you're part of something bigger than yourself, and you learn not just sports lessons but life lessons too. So Devron, where did he play his high school ball at?
Forsyth. He was in Atlanta, North Atlanta, Forsyth
Okay.
County.
Okay, yeah, good part of the country.
Oh, absolutely. I lived in Atlanta for 15, almost 16 years. So
Okay.
good, definitely good memories there.
Yeah, yeah. The only bad thing about Atlanta is the traffic.
Oh,
Other than that,
we don't speak about traffic.
all right, we're just going to shut our mouths right now about that. We're not going to talk about it. So
Yeah.
we talked about Devron. What does family look like for you? What is family to you?
So my parents still live in Turkey. Both
Okay.
my mom and dad lives in Turkey. Devron actually graduated, and he's a middle school teacher now.
Wow.
So
Okay.
he's in Atlanta. My wife is currently in Turkey because her son Efe is going to be finishing high school this year. So
Okay.
we have plans for them to join me later in the year, and hopefully when the immigration paperwork is handled. And
Yep.
it takes a while, but she goes back and forth, and she does the wife duties here, and then goes back and does the mom duties, and hopefully
Yeah.
we'll be family, soon together back here. But I get to visit my parents, as much as I can. They're knock on wood, healthy and still alive. So I get to enjoy time with them whenever I have that opportunity.
Well, good. So when you are not doing soccer, do you have other things in the community that you do? Or do you have community givebacks, community connections? What do you do to just sort of, I guess, like maybe a nonprofit that you're tied to, or just volunteer work?
Yeah, I mean, since I've just moved to Cincinnati recently, I can go back to Nashville times, and definitely, being in the soccer community down there, we had a lot of community events. Some that we supported, and some that we actually formed ourselves. We had a player that we lost. I want to say 3 years ago. He was a 7-year-old, one of our players, little Finnegan. Gobele, and we actually started organizing a charity event we called it Finn's Cup. Every year we started holding a coach's game to remember him, because he was one of our funny little dudes that was in our soccer club as a 7-year-old that we lost. So we try to remember him every year. So we did that charity event during, I want to say May, probably mid-May, usually every May.
Okay.
So anything that supports the community, we're there. It could be an event that could be held by a chamber of commerce or any type of organization that holds it for us to be there present, whether it be it's boots on the ground or financial support. We try to do that.
Okay, very good. So, by the way, Finnegan, that's a cool name.
No.
That's a cool name. So little Finnegan.
His sister Layla still plays at our club down in Murfreesboro. So great family.
Did you live in Murfreesboro?
Yes, sir. I was there for 5 years, 5 great years. I still have great connections down there. I tried to visit as much as possible. And luckily, King Sammer still has King Sammer Murfreesboro, and we just added King Sammer Eris, which is another great club in the vicinity. So I get to have still friends down there, our sponsors that they renew their sponsorship with us every year. So I get to visit them on a consistent basis.
Yeah. Beautiful part of the country. I love that area. I've got friends down there tied to Blackman High School down there.
There you go. Yep. I got players that plays in Blackman, Siegel, Oakland. Yeah, they got great competition.
Yeah.
Both boys and girls.
Perfect. So are there events held around King's Hammer? What does when I say the word events, what does that mean to you?
So events could be mostly tournaments. Our teams compete at different levels of tournaments. They either go to tournaments that we're not holding, but we want our teams to actually compete at. But then there are also that events that we're hosting. For example, October 3rd and 5th, we're going to have a Halloween Havoc. We're at, expecting around 3,000 players, almost about 6,000 attendance. Following week, we have our Blue Chip Juniors event, which is 7,000 players, almost 15,000 attendance that we're, expecting.
Jeez.
And then, like I said, October 29th, we're supporting Susan G. Komen with our Hammer Out Cancer 3v3 tournament at Warren County Sports Complex. That would be benefiting, again, Susan G. Komen Foundation. So, anywhere from events usually means obviously tournaments, but we also have events that's behind the scenes that could be workshops that is circled around our teams. It could be any type of activity that we're doing for them. Parent workshops, educational workshop, coaching workshops. If you go to our website, one big thing that you see is we try to inspire, encourage, and empower people. So that's our mission. We want to make sure anybody is involved with our club, either as a volunteer or at our events or working for us or playing for us. We want to be able to impact them as a citizen. So any type of activity that we can do, that could circle around workshops, that could circle around events, we want to give back to them as much as possible for being partnering with us.
Well, with as many people as you have in the organization and all the lives you touch, it's a wonder that you can even keep track of all this stuff. So, very busy.
Good observation, Murph, but we do have a great team. I really want to acknowledge them. I mean, coming from Nashville, I had a team of I want to say experts at what they do. Some were event driven, some were director of coaches, some were just simple mere coaches, but understanding how they're impacting every little player within that 1.5 hour training session or during the games throughout the weekend. So when you have a great team, I think it becomes a habit. So you're out there knowing that what you need to do. And the end result is, impacting that one little player. If everybody has that same mission, it's just easy to accomplish.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
Is the USA the only place in the world that still calls it soccer? Is it football everywhere else, or is it just soccer here? What's
I think Australians call it soccer. But I do believe I cannot pinpoint this, that I might have to, Google this again. But I do believe when it first started in England, it was called soccer in England too.
Okay.
And for some reason, I think it was the association back then. It was that's why it was called soccer. But then it started, changing the format, and the name became football out there. But Americans call it soccer, so I don't have any beef to pick on that one. I'm used to calling it soccer. As long as I am able to impact those players and they're enjoying what they do and learning as much as possible, but understanding they're student athletes at the end. Yeah.
Good point. So, I recall, I'm 62 years old. I recall the time when there was just this call to the kids of America to embrace soccer. We're going to, fold soccer into the U.S. way of life, because it was all, American football, basketball, baseball, and I remember, to me, soccer was Alexi Lawless and Mia Hamm.
Oh yeah.
And now their hair is about the same color as mine, so, but that was all part of it. And now fast forward to today, when I look at my Facebook page and I see my cousin's children, instead of wearing baseball uniforms, so many of them are out there on the pitch playing soccer. Soccer is the big thing amongst the youth today. So, but it seems like it's taken a while. I guess maybe longer than I thought it would. But what's your perspective on that? How do you feel we're doing in terms of making America a soccer culture?
Well, I think, the representation or initiation of MLS has brought a significant power to the United States. Obviously Alexi Lalas and Mia Hamm, but then when you consider David Beckham stepping into LA Galaxy back in the day, and then now owning a franchise, Inter Miami, and bringing names like Messi, Suarez, and this is very, very impactful. So when you look at it, there is a moments that this has evolved into something bigger than soccer. Obviously, branding is very, very important when you are considering professional soccer clubs. Look at back to Europe. You can name, top 5 teams very quickly in every league that they're playing in, because they consistently play at higher levels and everywhere in the world, Champions League, and then those players play on World Cup. Now, US is also pondering with the idea of USL, basically a second division of MLS, and or the lower division of MLS, which professional clubs considering a relegation promotion opportunity within that league as well. So when you put all these together, there are so many opportunities for player to play at a level that they could possibly dream of. Younger players, you look at this younger players that are playing in King's Hammer. We have Girls Academy program that they are playing and competing in. And we have MLS Next program that they're competing in for boys. So every club have the opportunity to promote their players to play in these different leagues. So from a younger age to older age, everybody has an opportunity to experience this. Obviously it comes at a cost too, because, when you consider all these tournaments that you might be traveling or all these games, you can add gas money, hotel, all these additional fees. That makes it hard sometimes. And that's why I always consider partnerships with certain businesses and organizations to lower the cost of entry to these opportunities for players.
Yeah.
But, it's every sport. I'm sure if I were to, go into cheerleading or volleyball, it would probably be the same. Obviously, I'm not privy to the expenses of those sports.
It's all expensive. Let me tell you, it's all expensive. Yeah,
I am sure. So every sport comes with that, dilemma. But for me, obviously coming from a passionate part of Europe, soccer being number one sport, and also being able to coach multiple levels for many, many years, I love seeing that it is becoming the number one youth sport in the United States, because that is always was my passion. How can I impact those players to hopefully play this sport? And if they can become pro, that's fantastic. But if they can't, can they be an avid fan like I am? Maybe they'll be a coach, or maybe just they'll be a great parent providing this opportunity to their kids one day.
Yeah, because the sport needs coaches at every level.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. People who can build those young humans into great, bigger humans. And so that you've been a big part of that. So how do people reach you if they want to know more?
So the easiest, obviously these days is Instagram, website, the kingshammer.com. So if you look up King's Hammer, you will definitely find us very quickly. And, my email is very easy. sorsan@kingshammer.com. They can send an email. My phone number is 404-422-5793. I give it out to anyone. They can call me to get more information. I'm happy to give them anything that I can provide them to understand. Soccer is big, and it's going to become even bigger within a year or so. So don't be late.
I've enjoyed talking with you. King's Hammer, you represent King's Hammer very well, Orsan. So
I do my best, Murph. I do my best. I really believe in what we do. Like I said, we have great partners where I came from in Nashville. I'm making great connections here. And thanks to you, this podcast hopefully will get people to understand what we're trying to achieve. I made great connections, like I said, from the chambers that I've been into, the meetings. There are some great people out there. When I tell them what we're trying to do, they're really listening and trying to figure out how they can help, not just because they want to be part of it and sponsor it, but they understand that what we're trying to achieve is something bigger than just a small collaboration. We're trying to tell a story, and let's do it the right way.
So before we go, are there any final thoughts? Anything we haven't talked about that you want to make sure people know and understand, or key talking points that we never really got around to in our conversation?
Sure. I probably would say if you're a parent of a soccer player, you're doing a great job getting them to every activity that they are competing in or participating. It's a phenomenal opportunity for them, but it's a big burden for the families because of, not just financial, but the time commitment. And we get that. But the return on your investment is amazing. And don't just look at it as soccer development being what's being done on the soccer field. I've lived this for 25 years as a coach, as a executive on the sidelines, sometimes as a coach, sometimes as a parent. Like I said, my son is a school teacher. He did not want to play professional football, or he didn't want to pursue it in college. He wanted to do some academics. But the opportunity that he got to playing running back made him what he is. So parents, if your kids are participating in soccer, do look at it as a personal development. It's an amazing opportunity for them to become a good citizen in the future because they're participating in this. There will be moments they're going to fall. There will be moments they'll be benched, but this is part of life. This is how they get to learn how to pursue, how to be more successful. And I think any soccer club or any sporting club teaches them this opportunity, then I think you have the most valuable dollars in your pocket that you cannot achieve in the future. That's what I think.
Well said, Orsan. So, whenever I ask that question, what else do you have to say? I never know what somebody's going to say, but that was a great use of the time.
Well, hopefully we can all do it. I do remember moments, like I said, we had so many little discussions with my son, Devron, trying to figure out which sport was the hardest to play. Was it soccer or football? And we never agreed on that. But whatever he's done today, it's part of what he's done back then.
Well, I get exhausted watching soccer, so I think soccer's got to be a tough sport to play. The conditioning part of it, but that's what coaches are for. So, all right, brother. Well, thank you for spending time with us today.
Well, Murph, this was amazing. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Definitely, like I said, if we're able to tell a story and more people are able to do these kind of podcasts, you guys are giving them that opportunity. So we really appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, one story at a time, storytelling and education, I think is key to building anything. So we've tried to do our part today, and thank you for being part of it. If anyone wants to know how they can just kind of contribute to the cause, kingshammer.com is the place to start, I would imagine.
Yep.
You've given your phone number. I'll make sure that's listed wherever I post this podcast. People will know how to reach you.
Yep.
So we'll get that phone ring, and we'll get people visiting the website and learning how to raise our younger generation to be not just soccer players in the future, but teachers as well. And
absolutely.
Yeah, okay. Perfect. All right. Thanks for your time today. So
Thanks,
we're signing off this edition of the Good Neighbor Podcast. I'll say to everybody out there, until we meet again, everyone out there, please be good to your neighbor. See you all. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast Union. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpunion.com. That's gnpunion.com, or call us at 859-651-8330.